Do you look back on those times and you're like I miss it? These were the times I was building the business. No, you're not.
That's what I say.
You've just broken the whole stereotype that's on social media.
Absolutely sucked. It's way better to be in this situation. In the agency space, there's going to be an enormous amount of businesses that make bugger all money, and then a small few that make all the money. It's a very lucrative industry. People will give you a lot of money if you can get them leads and sales. It's like a really valued service, but they want to work with the best at level.
I bet that's such an easy sell. Like, oh, so what makes you
It's
stand out? Oh,
it's a
by
good
the way, I'm the only person that Meta fuck with in the UK. Just saying. Like, I'm gonna run Meta as you. I'm your guy. I'm Batman.
If you make it a system, you can then sell the system. It doesn't necessarily mean it's that real. But so much of a warm lead is not just the exposures that your brand has to them, it's the time.
To somebody that wanted to start an agency today, what would your first 3 actionable steps be to becoming and achieving the things that you've become and achieved?
What does somebody have to do to actually get the agency game wrong?
To get it wrong.
So many ways. Let me run through some.
Ben, how important is having a personal brand in 2025 paired with an online business?
I think the two in combination are massively undervalued. I think that if I look at my business, so much of the success of it is due to my personal brand. And we see it all the time with clients. So we run ads for, let's say, tons of e-commerce businesses. And some e-commerce businesses we run ads for, there's a personal brand associated with them. Owner of the business, sometimes even someone brought in externally, and the ads just perform so much better. I think with the increase in advertising, the increase in content, particularly AI generated, people want something that cuts through all that noise. And if they go, oh, that's a person that I can trust, if they've made a recommendation, I now don't need to put in all this mental effort to think about it, to assess all the options, to do the research. I can just go ahead and trust what they say and buy it.
Yeah.
So valuable. They're also such a valuable asset in terms of they're really hard to build. They take a lot of time. That seems like a massive negative. But the plus side, as someone who has built one, is it's like, good luck trying to compete with that.
You basically have business on easy mode now for the rest of your life.
It's so much easier. Yeah. I speak to a lot of people that are like, oh, we're going to build a personal brand. It's like, sure, I'll see you in 8 years' time.
Yeah.
You know, because these things don't happen overnight.
Yeah.
You can't develop that relationship with an audience really fast. You have to show up again and again, provide value,
That was me and
or
H
entertain
10
them.
minutes ago.
We're in it's almost like a boom at the moment of personal brands though. Like you scroll and it's constantly like, it's a new creator popping up that's got this new offer and this new niche or this new business model to go into. It's like a boom of personal brands just blowing up overnight now.
Yeah, I think
I say blowing up overnight. Again, we had this conversation before we started. We don't see the reps in that they've put before.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly that. It gets there. I think they're just becoming so much more popular because so much more of our purchasing decisions, business interactions are done based on online interactions, and it's just so much easier to connect with that individual. And people think individuals. You're not thinking of like a company name or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, there are big downsides associated with personal brands. Like my business is virtually unsellable unless I have some sort of significant earn out where I have to continue making content for 5 years or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's a huge downside, and that's one of the reasons people don't want to do it. There's also you have to put yourself out there. You know, you have to be on camera. You have to face criticism. You might have people recognize you in the street if you get big enough, and all these sorts of things, right? But the upside in terms of the marketability is absolutely huge. It's the trust, effectively, that's so hard to buy.
Yeah, and moving forwards as well is even if you went into a completely different space, you've got a different offer, or even like just networking. When people see, oh yeah, let's connect, and you open up your IG and it's like, okay, what does this guy do?
Yeah.
Just how much more serious they're going to take you in that conversation, what you have to say, the perceived value of what you have to say, in my opinion, is just significantly more, because it's like, that's somebody of substance because there's X amount of people that follow, trust, engage in what he has to say.
Yeah, it's a great door opener. I think there's a trend, I've talked about this, where a lot of the social platforms, they are less, the size of the following doesn't have to correlate with like how many views your content's going to get. So you can have Instagram accounts or YouTube channels with really large followings, but if their content's not good, they've gotten lazy, it happens. their new stuff won't get many views. But so that has led people to go, follower sizes don't matter, subscribers don't matter, things like that. And to some extent, that's true. You can have new TikTok accounts get millions of views. You can have ones that are really established get far less. But what I would argue to people saying that is it opens doors. So you are able, just like you said, to not just go to people, but people come to you and they say, oh, you've got this massive following. I want a piece of that. Whether that's sponsorships or getting access. We were talking before we started about the fact that I'm a Meta Megaphone partner, right? The only one in the UK. So I have special access to Meta. They give me early access to stuff. They can help resolve issues for our clients. That's because of my following. That's because of the number of subscribers I have on my YouTube channel that then they go, we're willing to give you special treatment because you have that. So opens a lot of doors.
And closes a few of them, like what you said earlier. The doors that you didn't want to open, that you can just close because you have that privilege.
Yeah, that's I've never thought about it saying like that, but yes, I'm not cold calling. I'm not cold knocking on doors. I'm not sending cold messages on any platform. We're just waiting for people to get in touch with us.
If you knew that building a personal brand for your business to bring in leads, etc., if you knew that it would be the case that you couldn't sell your business, would you have built the business a different way?
No, because I don't really want to sell it. I'm quite happy with how it is. It would have been so much harder to build to this point without the personal brand. So yes, whilst it might have been more sellable, it's just not really something I'm that interested in. I'm quite happy for now, at least. And even if it's personal brand built, if it gets big enough, you can. I couldn't sell it now, like a 50-person business, that's really hard. If it's a 500, 2,000 person business, much easier, because whilst it might have a person attached, you think of all the biggest companies in the world, they actually all have personal brands associated. Apple had Steve Jobs, and Microsoft had Bill Gates. Meta's got Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk with Tesla. They actually have personal brands, but those would be businesses that could absolutely be bought by other people.
Yeah.
The owners could cash out. Many have. I mean, those examples are all public companies. But there are other ways to do that once you reach a certain scale. So yeah, even though there are downsides, for me, definitely, I feel the positives outweigh the downsides.
You said you wouldn't have been able to scale the business to where it is now without your personal brand.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, what is the business? And second of all, what is where we're at now?
Yeah, so marketing agency is the business. So we specialize in Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Google ads. So quite a specific agency as agencies go. We're not creating websites. We're not doing SEO, all sorts of other things that other agencies do. So we have worked with about 3,000 clients worldwide in like 40 plus countries. We have 450 ad accounts inside our what's called a business manager account, so like where you guys will know, but where your clients' ad accounts are held at any one time.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Pretty fucking cool.
We've spent more than $150 million on ads. We're spending almost 10 million a month now. So to be honest, the number might be way higher. Like the total might be way higher than that. These platforms only let you see so far into the past. So you always like underestimate.
Just to the guys that are hearing that and being like, what? You spend 10? They're making back a lot more than the 10 million.
Yeah. So lifetime, like our conservative estimate on what we're returning on our ad spend is 4x across the board. Obviously we have some clients who are much larger and we put out things all the time that show screenshots of that, and some that are less than that. So we would conservatively estimate that we've generated more than $600 million for clients on that 150 ad spend. Like I said, I think those numbers are higher, but we can't fully confirm and guarantee that they are. So I'm reluctant to talk about it. We've got a 50-person team. So we've done really well, grown really fast, but much more to come.
I love that. I love that, bro. That's amazing. You said you work predominantly with e-com stores.
I'd say about 60% of our clients are e-com. We have a lot of other types of businesses. Because businesses find us, we get all sorts. I often ask, like, do you specialize? It's like, no, because we have all sorts coming in.
I think it's important to have like a specific ICP, like an ideal client avatar for your business. Because like that's one thing that you see getting thrown around, like especially now, like with you, once you create your offer, build your personal brand, and like scale from there to one specific customer.
Productize your service.
I think that's a really good way to get started. I think had I had my time again, I'd have done that early on. So I wouldn't have just created, say, Facebook ads content. I'd have created it specific to a niche. And then once we work that out, then look to expand from there. Once you get to a certain point, you reach the limit of that market, so you have to expand. I think it's better to do it in a stepped way, like you described. I didn't do that. I sort of went straight from that. And then there's also operational issues because, you know, we've got guys in our team that one day might be working on an e-com business, the other day might be working on a chain of gyms, quite different businesses, right? So that's a challenge. We're now big enough to be able to cope with that because we effectively have like different pods of people that do then specialize in different areas.
You have like different departments based on the service delivery.
Effectively that, yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, oh, such and such media buyers typically work with SaaS businesses. So any SaaS business is going to come through, it's going to be working with them, and then different ones for different types. So I think it's good to start that way. My recommendation would be start niche and then broaden out once you feel like you've done well there and can then go. Because each level you go up as well, particularly if you're doing it through a personal brand, you're making content, it gets harder. Competition's getting harder. Like I'm now trying to make the jump to not just the Facebook ads guy, but being seen as like a marketing guy or even a business guy. And then instead of me competing against the other Facebook ads creators, I'm now looking at making videos alongside people like Gary Vee and Alex Hormozy, and that's way harder to do because these guys are brilliant at what they do, right?
Yeah.
So I think taking it stepped, starting niche and going out is what I do.
You said you spend 10 million a month roughly on ads. Yeah. Does that not scare you to know that your clients are kind of putting X amount of money and trust into you guys, saying like, we kind of need you to get a return on this, and if you don't, I mean, it's a lot of money to be spending. Like we had that feeling where we dibbled and dabbled into the ad side of things, and we ran a couple of unsuccessful campaigns, and it wasn't 10 million, trust me, far from that. But the feeling of like, not like maybe not guilt, but like the pressure of we need to make this work, not only for ourselves, but for them too. How does that?
I don't. So I think there's a few reasons. One, I have a team I really trust, which has taken years and years and years to build. A lot of, you know.
But it wasn't always like that, right?
No, it wasn't always like that. But that's the other part of it is like, you don't get there overnight.
Yeah.
So I remember running ad campaigns where a client is paying me literally £100 a month and I've got £100 a month ad spend. So I remember being there. And so you slowly ratchet it up, right? You're like, oh, we're spending 20 grand a month. We're spending 100 grand a month on clients. You slowly get like more and more. Yeah. So that helps take the sting out of it, like the fear out of it. I've got people I trust. It's building up to it. And then also when you start working with bigger companies, it, in my experience, becomes less stressful.
Because they understand.
Then the people you're working with are not paying their rent, mortgage, or...
with that ad spend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That. And with the smaller businesses, that's what you're seeing. So the clients that panic and pull budget or leave, they're nearly always the smaller ones where... And so we try and like weed them out when we're, you know, going through like sales calls and things, but still some get through and you realize after the fact of like, oh, this was their last 20 grand and their whole business was bet on this. Like, that's not a good situation to be in, like highly unlikely to work in that scenario. So we don't work with as many of those anymore. And
the larger companies will just have like 10%, 15%, 20%, which is just a marketing budget that every year is put to the side. They're going to spend.
You always see that meme. It's like $100 client. Like, when will I see results? 100%. Like, is it yesterday? It's like $50,000 client. It's like money sent yesterday.
Invoice paid, mate. Thanks.
Invoice paid. What next?
Results in like 5 years.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly that.
You mentioned you remember like doing Facebook ads for literally £100 a month with £100 ad spend.
Yeah.
A common theme that you see online. It's like something that me and Chris go back and forth about in Convo a lot is like, we're going to look back on this like as the good old days and stuff like that. Do you look back on those times and you're like, that like I miss it. These were the times I was building the business. No, you're the first.
That's what I say.
You've just broken the whole stereotype that's on social media.
Absolutely sucked. It's way better to be in this situation. It's honestly.
I'm glad that someone said the truth because we go back and forth about it.
It's way better just to check the Stripe account, be like, oh, the guys have signed up some more clients today, and then find out the information from it. That's so much more fun.
Yeah,
there are business owners that get stuck working in their business and they find it hard to get out. That was not me. I did not struggle with that. I always wanted to be working on it. I always wanted to be growing it. Yeah. That's what made me most excited. That was actually part of the thing I realized with my personal brand. I was like, if I do this well enough and I have enough demand for our services, I will have the cash coming in to be able to afford to hire great people who will do a great job at all the things they need doing. A better job than I will.
A better job, yeah.
I can get, if I have the money, I can get someone in who's going to do a better job of capturing this video for a client or crafting this ad copy or whatever it is. And that definitely turned out to be true. So like very early on, I wanted something bigger that wasn't relying on me. And yeah, I'm happy to not be in the trenches.
You're the first person I've ever heard say that.
It's a growth mindset though, isn't it? Because if you are working every day and your headspace is like, when I'm 40, 50, 60, I'm still going to be running these campaigns. Like,
yeah,
come on, man.
Well, yeah, and people do.
But don't
you go to networking meetings and stuff like that, which I did a lot of in the early days, and you see people who are in that scenario, and like, you know, fair play, but like that's not what I wanted at all.
You can take your hat off and respect it, but like,
if they're happy with their life and they do their work, and but for me, I was like, nah, that's not
life is for living.
How do you scale from the £100 a month clients to, let's say, the £1,000 a month clients?
Oh, so much of that is just mindset. So much of that is just.
What do you mean?
When I first started charging £100 a month for a client, this would have been...
That was even cheap for a beginner, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Very cheap,
This would have been 2015.
But my time means nothing.
Yeah.
Pay me £100 a month.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, Mom, I got a client.
My hourly rate would have been horrific. So this would have been like 2015. Facebook ads was much newer then. There was far more skepticism. So my first client was a hairdresser, like a salon. Second one was a cake shop in Canada.
It's lead gen that you're doing, or
this was lead gen for them, and it was £100 a month ad spend, and then I probably got a few more that are a little bit more than that, £200 a month or something like that, and then I just went, you know what, I'm just going to charge a minimum of exactly what you said, 1,000. I'm just going to do it, and then the next few like sales calls I had, people were like, oh okay, one of those where you go, I was such an idiot, like how stupid was that? I could have done this the whole time, and I remember making £600 a month with 6 clients and feeling like I was working full time at the time, obviously, because couldn't live off that. But I was doing all my evenings, all my weekends, not going on trips for this £600 a month, which seems kind of crazy to think now. But you don't know what you don't know. And I didn't know that even with relatively smaller businesses, I could charge a lot more. Or you just don't work with those and you keep going until you find bigger ones.
I want to ask, when did personal branding become your priority, and what did that look like? Because like H mentioned, it's becoming a lot cooler, a lot more normal for people to build personal brands. I want to know from somebody that is an expert in their space, where did you start? How long did it take? What were you creating? And also as well, like, how did that look for the business in the process? Not at the end where you are the meta ads guy, like during.
Yeah.
What effect did that also have on your business as well?
So I'd say by early 2018, it's like, I know that with my time, it's the main thing. So my then girlfriend, now wife, started working with me. We got like a couple of, like, I suppose you'd call them VAs to help out with stuff early on, to free up my time, to really, I dabbling in content from back 2016, 2017, and 2018. I was like, oh, okay, this is gaining enough traction. If I do this properly. Now, I was doing everything else. So I'm doing client work. I was doing multiple sales calls a day, like everything still.
Filming, editing, posting.
Yeah. The whole
love that
lot.
shit.
And then you just like slowly start getting other people in to do that sort of stuff. You hire like a commission only salesman who then sells more than I did the previous month. You're like, right. So I just got my time back on what at the time would have been 2-3 sales calls a day. And we're getting better results. Why didn't I do this?
Yeah.
Most of those things that work, why didn't I do this a year earlier? So 2018 was the important thing. And I did treat that like it was a priority. And I knew no matter what happened, I was making videos and I was getting them out there. Even if clients were needed me to do extra work, or like I would do that in the evenings, but like my most productive time block was going to be, I'm going to get this done. So at the time that was purely long form YouTube videos. But then this would have been before, I mean, I'm pretty sure YouTube Shorts was
short form was long, like lockdown time.
Yeah.
When TikTok popped off.
So 2018,
yeah.
No reels yet. And no YouTube Shorts. So yeah, it would have just been long form YouTube videos at the time.
Do you think that you prioritizing your personal brand, yes, it kept your pipeline full, yes, it brought leads in, but do you think that your actual like fulfillment, your service, the service that you're providing to your clients, do you think that took a hit?
I think honestly it probably did. which is like probably not something I should say. But like, to be totally honest, I think at the time it did.
But that's I feel like something that even us, like we have to weigh up, like what is more important, making sure that everybody we have on board gets all of our time, gets the best possible service, or do we stack up our pipeline as much as possible? Do we use our productive hours of the day towards creating captivating, valuable content that is going to bring more eyeballs onto us and our business? Like, it's a fight that we're having with ourselves all the time. Yeah. And for somebody that's already been through it, it's kind of refreshing to hear you say, yeah, it kind of did, but I'm all right.
Yeah, you know? I never did I never provided a level of service that I was like embarrassed to provide or unhappy with. I was never there going, oh, I've really let them down here. But what I didn't do that we did as soon as we had the resources, like basically when I was probably hiring people, we were able to do this, is like the extra stuff, the extra mile, the thinking about it, you know, with the extra spare time. What could we do to improve results? Could we do some of this? Could we do some of that? My time, when the business was mostly just me, was more focused on the content. I just felt like that was the key. If I got that right, the rest of the stuff would take care of itself, which turned out to be true. Yeah. But I think it wasn't as good as it could have been. But I never did anything where I'm like, oh, I've really phoned it in there, or you don't. I don't think you want to be in that situation.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, you want to provide a service that you're proud of,
and also you want to. But
you also have.
I wanted to get good enough results to like feature them in my content. Yeah. So that was part of it as well.
Social proof.
You'd get, and some of that was client selection. I'd be like, oh, I can crush it for these guys, and then I could talk about it in my next video. So like that was feeding in as well. Yeah. So you are also incentivized, obviously. Like every service provider is incentivized to get good results.
So for somebody that wants to build a personal brand around their offer, what type of content do they even start making?
I think if you decide whether you're making entertaining or educational content, and then let's say it's educational, which is what I've done, you look at the stuff that gets the most views, the most engagement in your niche, and you look at the top, 5-10 people in that space, and you go, okay, I think person A did this part really well, but these other parts were crap. Person B did the opposite. I'm going to take the best part from A, the best part from B. You know what? No one talked about this little thing. I'm going to add that into the mix. And then you do that, and content's still probably crap in the beginning, but you keep doing that long enough, and you end up putting your own flavor on it. And you do that. So I remember very much doing that with Facebook ads. I was looking at the guys with the top videos going, I think you've done this really well. I'm going to copy that. Things like that, which at the time for me would have been like Alex Becker from Hyros. I don't know if you know who.
I feel like I recognize the name.
Yeah. Hyros is familiar with the software, I imagine, like tracking software. A lot of Facebook advertisers use. I'm actually, I work with them and they sponsor my stuff now. So I was like copying his videos at the beginning, trying to put my own spin on it, and then you just keep going long enough, and eventually, you create video. Well, Alex has a big channel anyway, but like there's other people you create videos that surpass theirs. You just got to keep doing it and keep taking the time to analyze and like look at the detail and be like, why didn't this do as well? What can I improve? And those sorts of things.
Mm-hmm. It's dope.
Where'd you go? So with your story, we're at the £1,000 a month clients.
Yeah, okay.
How would you go to, I don't know what the next jump was for you, but how would you go to the 2,000 or the 3,000 or £4,000 a month clients?
We probably did that slower than we should have. So we kept our minimums relatively low.
What do you mean by that?
So our starting price point, like if a client has 5-6 grand a month, they can still work with us now. Mm-hmm. We don't have there'll be some agencies our size that would be like, unless you got 100 grand a month, like
don't bother.
We're not interested. And we did that for a few reasons. Like that's a lot of who is watching my stuff and interested in working with us. So I didn't want to miss out on, a lot of potential business. We felt like we could help. They're big enough that we could help those people. It also, because we wanted to build what I feel is one of the best meta ads teams in the world, we knew that we wanted our guys to get tons of experience working on lots of different businesses. I know enough large agencies where these are agencies that could be spending more than us. They could be spending 300 million, 400 million a year on ads, and they've got 12 clients, and they're just like absolute monster clients. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I've had experience where you look at their stuff, and we've like interviewed people that work for those companies, see if they want to come work for us and stuff, and you think, oh, you haven't got the reps in. Like you actually don't. You kind of, some stuff you do is great, some of there's holes here because you don't have the reps in. So that was part of the reason why we kept working with with the smaller clients was the experience, train our people. We felt we could help them. There's a lot of demand. But then we also have a tiered system. So we didn't need to go, we're only going to work with 50 grand a month clients. We can go, we are going to work with 50 grand a month clients and 300 grand a month. I think our largest client was spending 2 million a month in ad spend, like a single client. But we still have some of the ones that are operating at small level. So we're quite happy to have the span, just like we're happy to work with different niches.
How do you make money as a business? Is it a percentage of what they're spending?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So on the done for you side, it's percentage of what they're spending. So we have like a minimum, and then after that, it's going to be the more you spend, the percentage will be lower, but as an overall number, the ratchet up, we have tiers. We also have like a mentorship program though. So it's like a done with you offer. So
cool.
people have
Teach people in their in-house teams how to run successful ads for
exactly
themselves.
Exactly that. Because we know that so much of our, let's say the very minimum to start with us and done for you is 5 grand a month. But it's still the vast majority of my audience can't afford that.
Yeah.
Their businesses aren't there. So we have like a mentorship program. So we have, they get assigned one-to-one coaches. We have daily live calls, one a week of which is with me, course material. So like the whole thing to help train them basically.
Amazing.
With your offer. So,
Amazing. What's that priced at?
so there's different price points depending on different tiers and how long people are in for.
It's relatively
going to
affordable,
be,
though.
it's going to be, and we have payment plans as well. If someone wants to pay in full, you're probably looking at 5-6K, or they can pay like £1,000 a month for a period of time.
If someone's I want this to really, really benefit the people that are listening. Someone that is starting an agency, they've got their offer. Let's say it's Facebook ads, let's say it's SEO, whatever it is, because it's all scaling it from what I see online. Can't say that I've made it and I understand it, but it's all pretty similar. Everything goes from one type of agency to the other. Where do they start? If they're at zero, they're at the $100 a month clients. Where do they start?
I think in general, one thing that's benefited me that I don't see that many people do is I like to take really big swings as opposed to incremental improvement. Now, I have people on my team that make incremental improvements and stuff, and that's really useful as part of a team. You need someone that's like, sod the 10% growth.
What makes the cool story?
How do we 10x the thing?
I'm Batman.
Yeah. How do we 10x the thing? So for me, that was my personal brand, and I think that's a really good way to go. If I was starting an agency, I would do that again. But if someone didn't want to do that, I would be looking for a partner that could, not a business partner, another business to partner with that can take you from nothing to, I don't know.
10, 15, 20, 50.
50 grand a month is what I was going to say. Like the right type of business where they are highly incentivized. You can show them that you do really good work. They can send you a load of referral stuff. You make sure they are well paid for doing next to nothing. There are lots of businesses like that out there. Now, they get lots of offers. It's very difficult to do. You're going to have to do something somewhat special to get it. But the reward is big. If you're just getting started and all of a sudden you've got a business doing $500,000 a year within the first 6 months or whatever, these things are very hard to do. But that's the reward you're fighting for. So that's what I personally would be looking to do.
When you say to partner with a business, do you mean partner with somebody with a strong personal brand, or just partner with another ads agency that's got too much work to handle?
Could be either. Someone with a brand that doesn't have a done-for-you offer. There are so many people like that.
Just to add, it could even be like a SEO or a content agency as well that have clients that might be interested in Facebook ads, for example.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, I got a guy.
We can now offer this as well to your clients.
Perfect example.
And all I want is...
Exactly that. And you make sure that they, do well out of it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say someone's stuck at that now. They've, whether it's personal brand or they've got the affiliates going, stuck at it for 6 months, a year, they're at 10K a month, in and around there. Where do we go from there? What's next? Will we start looking at team?
I think you need to do something to differentiate yourself because there's so many marketing agencies. So there has to be something that you do that is different, and not just different from we have this extra special customer servicey thing that no one can see externally. It has to be like noticeably different. So for me, that was always personal brand. But it could be, right, I'm going to pay to speak at as many conferences as possible. And I'm going to get loads of exposure to potential good brands there. Like most people think they want to be paid to speak. It's like, well, actually the value is being up on the stage and being able to talk to these potential clients, right? So actually, if you do it the other way around and you are the one willing to pay,
Never
to
actually
talk.
thought about it like that. I would love to come and speak. You put killer presentation together in front of all of your ideal clients.
Yeah.
How many of them are going to come after and be like, hey?
So that's what Stephen Bartlett from Diver CEO did.
I didn't know that.
I've spoken to his business partner, his previous business partner, Dominic McGregor, and he was explaining to me that they had a system where he would pay to go and speak at all these events, and then you might have Coca-Cola, someone from Coca-Cola UK branch or whatever in the audience, and you sign up that client, and that pays for an enormous amount of stuff based on doing that. Yeah. So I think you've got to be willing to do something different.
Can I
to stand
just
out.
jump in quickly straight away though? Why do you get the leads? Because you might be saying the same content on YouTube on your 500 subscriber account, but if you're stood on the stage, naturally the perceived value of what you have to say is significantly more.
Yeah.
So
You're
why is he on the stage? He's an expert,
Yeah.
surely.
Yeah.
So you're paying to position yourself as an authority, which bypasses the trust and who is this guy and why should I pay him to? How do I pay you? Because everything you just said makes so much sense.
Yeah. It's that same thing that a personal brand does. Mm-hmm. Everyone's going, I don't really want to have to put a load of effort into researching this and thinking about it. Oh, there's a guy on stage? Don't have to research it.
He sounds good.
Don't have to think about it. He's on stage. He must know what he's doing. Obviously, then, he needs to be able to talk and not look like an idiot.
Yeah, of course. You still have to have the killer presentation and know your shit.
Yeah. So just to put a bit more into that story of what the Diver CEO did, it was, so not only would they pay to speak on stages, but they had a system, and this would have been, when were they doing this? 2013, maybe even a bit earlier than that, with Social Chain. And his business partner, Dominic McGregor, they basically had like tons of sub-accounts, and during the time of that talk, say 20 minutes, they would make something trend, was their like gimmick to play.
Wait, what do you mean?
So Stephen would get up on stage, he was a stage man, and he would say, right, let me talk about making something go viral. So we can make anything go viral. Let's come up with a hashtag right now. And he'd come up with a hashtag, right? And then his business partner would be sat in the room with a laptop, and they had some other guys, and they'd have all these sub-accounts like generating loads of engagement and talking about that hashtag. And then at the end of the talk, he'd be like, and if you pull out your phones, or this might have been, check your laptops.
Oh
if it
my
was early
God.
enough, check out your laptops. You can see that such and such is now trending in the UK, for example.
No way.
Yeah. So that is like, how does someone go from...
What a scam artist.
but he was showing how they could make things trend for potential clients.
Yeah.
And it's like
we can still do this for you.
This is what we'll do for you.
Yeah.
Now, you can't really do that anymore. That was an of-the-time technique.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to do it.
Clever, though.
But it's super clever. And everyone, in my experience, that have had mass success, and you think the success he's had, going from, nothing to... I mean, they had like I don't exactly know the number, but a very large exit for a business. I think he was 26 when he did it. Anyone who does that, they've done something extraordinary. And that was their extraordinary thing. They had to come up with something completely different, massively stand out. And it's genius.
I love that.
Yeah, hard to do.
I think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's literally just thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
Like, what is everybody in our field not doing? Let's do it, and let's do it well.
Yeah.
And
just good old-fashioned, like, showmanship. You know what I mean?
A bit of charisma, a bit of like, and everyone pull out your phones. It's like the magic trick.
Yeah.
And now look in your right pocket. Oh my God, it's the card.
Yeah.
How do you do it? Oh, can I hire you for my son's birthday?
Like, at the time, if the whole thing was about getting something trending.
Yeah.
I said this was about, I think it'd be like 2013, 2014. The whole thing is about getting something trending. I mean, he just absolutely...
Mate, I've got a massive smile on my face just thinking about
absolutely blown out the water with that, isn't he?
Yeah.
And then you can so see why all these big brands are like, right, come on then. Like, what's your fees? We want
and the fact that he paid to be on that stage and he staged the virality thing, and it was just like, I don't care whether you're going to open the door for me or not. I'm just going to ram it open.
Yeah.
I'm going to force myself through there.
Yeah. Do something completely
and then
different.
you reap the rewards off the back of it.
I think like if I'm looking at my own stuff personally, that's something that I've not been as good at. That's a real work on for me.
Like breaking the barrier and kind of thinking outside the box.
My stuff's been very serious. It's been very practical, and it's done well, but it has taken me 8 years to get my 1 million followers across channels, which is great. But if I want to go to 10 million and it not take the rest of my life, to some extent, I'm going to have to do something.
I would also
different.
argue that the field that you're in is a very serious, like the social media side of things and virality is very like cool and quirky, especially at that time.
Yeah.
It's like yeah, we're the trendy guys. We know how to make social media work.
Yeah.
But like you've just said, you have some clients that are using their last £20,000 and they're banking on this to work. Does the guy sitting behind the camera like, ooh, hey, Facebook ads? Like, does that really work?
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
just playing a bit devil's advocate.
100%.
I think you being professional and being
you're
on
absolutely right. There's a line to walk.
Yeah.
I just think I've over-indexed
Yeah.
on
Just Facebook ads. Facebook ads.
But then you have to decide what you're going to present when you're trying to build a personal brand. Like, what are people buying here?
Yeah.
You know, with me, that's one of the things people are buying is like, he looks like a serious guy. I think I can trust him.
Yeah.
I think I can trust a company he's created with money that we need to give to them and have it come back with more. So, I mean, and that's probably my personality as well, naturally, right? So you lean into that too. But there definitely is that element of there are times when, and I also think in my world, it's leaning that way more naturally because many years ago, it was all about the settings and the targeting and the optimization stuff. So it was like more of a nerdy pursuit. And now, because so much of that is automated by the platform, it
Facebook is so good.
hooks and it's
Creative.
coming up with something visually different. Yeah. So it is going that way.
Would you say that is the most important thing now, like in the ad space, is the creative?
Creative and offer.
Creative and offer.
Yeah. Two things, creative and offer. That's where like
So we weren't that far off then.
so much of the focus should be.
It's just it's reassuring though that like what is your no-brainer offer?
Yeah.
Why can someone see this ad and say like, why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
And then can you make someone be like, what's that?
Yeah. And I think different businesses, the weighting changes. So if you are a local beautician, like a beauty salon, offer is absolutely killer because there's probably only 4 others that you're competing against advertising wise. And if you have the best offer of them, your creative doesn't even necessarily have to be that good. You're going to get the business. But if you're advertising a sportswear brand that's advertised internationally, really, really hard to have a genuinely better offer than all your competition. There, the creative becomes more important.
Captivate people with, if it's running, it's like a really cool running shot on a really cool route, and the guy's going through it.
More
and
important,
what feeling does that make you feel when you see it? And it's that I was running and I felt like that, and I want those shoes.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
So those are the 2 most important things, but like the weighting is different because I think sometimes people get that wrong. It is different depending on the business.
I saw something quite interesting the other day. It was someone breaking down these 2 sportswear brands that I can't remember what they were called. Actually, no, one of them was called Run. Anyways, like the way that these 2 brands, they offered nothing different to any of the other brands on the market. Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, any of the smaller brands as well that do sportswear. They sold shorts and all of these other products. But how they framed what they do through the copy as well that they actually use. So one of them was like sportswear, like focused towards people that are like interested in like functional and like military style fitness and stuff. And as soon as you swiped up on the ad, it was like tactical sportswear and stuff like that. And that is super important if you're targeting someone that is super, super niche.
Yeah, 100%. Well,
I didn't understand it properly until I saw this video, and I was
it stands out, right? So it's different. It's otherwise, why would you not just go and get one of the other ones? Oh, okay, that's something about this that's completely different to the other stuff.
You know, with your done for you service, do you like, obviously it's all well and good like having a killer ad campaign and getting people, because you're paying for like a click to come across to the website. Do you guys have any involvement in having like an optimized website that's like built to convert, and even just like a social presence? Because you can have a killer ad campaign, you can put loads of budget behind it, but if like there's no real brand identity to go with that, why would people buy with you? Like, is there any stuff that, or is it just, I'm going to run an ad for you?
We advise the periphery stuff, but we don't do.
Right.
That's what we've decided for now. I think at some point we will add in the other stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't want the fact that we're really specialized means our guys are really good at that stuff. And I don't want that to get diluted by also doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Yeah.
So at some point,
I hear
we've
that.
got more people, yes. But for now, we advise, and we have people that we recommend if we're like, because we do get it right. We get, client websites come through and you're like,
website. How is someone going to buy on that?
Not going to work. Like, we need to sort this out.
Yeah.
So that definitely happens. So, but yeah, that's
the
the line
bottleneck
we've
that we
drawn
faced.
for now.
We faced something similar where we created really, really nice ads. The offer was nice, but the brand didn't really have a brand identity to go with it. They didn't really have a website that was built for that type of stuff. So naturally, like, even though we were getting people go across, there was actually no sales being made. Yeah. But it looks like we've done a shit job.
Yeah.
And really, we did our job. but the other stuff just don't really align with what we did.
If things go well, they always think they're brilliant. If things go badly, they always blame the marketing agency. Like always, it's that just is the way it goes. And there's only so much you can do for certain businesses. Like we've had certain businesses we worked with, and they want to know why all of a sudden their campaigns have dropped off. They've blamed us, and we've worked out that a new competitor's popped up that's selling basically the exact same product on Amazon for 30% less. And you're like, why would anyone buy yours now?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. So that's a stupid consumer decision. They should buy the one that's 30% less so they can get delivered on Prime next day. That's a changing market condition, nothing to do with the marketing agency. So that's just like we've had so many of those. That's just.
Have you got any client horror stories for me? Any ones that come to your head? You're like, you know what? That was a nightmare. That one was bad.
I mean, we've been threatened to be sued a few times, so that's nothing's ever actually gotten that far.
That's not fun, though, is it?
No, it's not fun. It's not fun. Clients, saying, "Oh, you promised us." Oh, we never promise results. You can't promise results. There's so many external
Anybody
factors.
that does is full of shit, right?
You exactly. You promise to do as good a job as you can. You demonstrate what you have done in the past, and then you crack on, right? Oh, you promised us such and such. We're suing you. And sometimes they just ask for like their money back as in the fees they've paid us. But we've had ones before. We had one year, they took the whole Q4 and they looked at the sales they'd made the last year and they compared it to this year and it was less. And they said, we're coming after you not just for the fees, not just for the ad spend, but the missed out revenue.
Oh, wow.
And we just sort of laughed at them and said, this is nonsense. This is absolute nonsense. Like, no.
Were you working with them the year before?
No. The results had dropped off whilst we were working with them.
It happens though, right?
There's so many external factors.
Yeah.
So in their specific scenario,
Someone's always looking for somewhere to point the finger.
exactly that. In that business, the one, I'm not that involved in regular client things, but when something like that happens and a client threatens to sue you for, I think it was 800,000 euros, you have a look into it.
No, thank
right?
you.
You have a look into it, right? You're like, okay, what's going on there? In that specific scenario, what had happened was there'd been some technological changes. Like they were selling a product that was basically an accessory to like another range of products that were like really well known. So it's kind of like almost like a piggyback business, if that makes sense. We work with
Like
a handful of those.
like the cases for the AirPods or something.
That would be a great example, exactly like that, yeah. And then the technology had changed, so a lot of the consumer base had switched over to another type of this thing. I don't want to be too specific. Another type of this thing, which meant that their consumer base had dropped off. They weren't hearing it, but like I said,
It's your fault.
Yeah, exactly.
It's your fault.
It's always the marketing.
It's fully
agency.
your fault.
Yeah.
I want to go back to growing the business.
Yeah, sure.
When you're at, let's say for someone that's listening, they're at 10K per month. They've got to the point now, it's like they're hammering their personal brand or they've partnered with someone as well. They're building everything. Is it important for them to productize their offer? Because you see a lot of it online. It's like the ads always like, join our creator growth program and all of these different names for the productized offer that an agency will have.
I think that's probably a short-term, long-term situation. So our done-for-you offer is not productized because we work with businesses of very different sizes and we work with businesses of all different niches. So that's very bespoke.
That's your top offer. Sure.
Yes, exactly.
Offering.
Exactly that. Yeah, it's our top offer.
The more you pay, the more access you get.
Yeah. Our mentorship program, which sits beneath that cost-wise, that is much more productized. So it's like a set format, even though the advice is still different businesses and things like that. So the advice is very much tailored, but it's like much more formulaic from a delivery standpoint. You're going to get this much one-to-one access. You have these live calls. You have this course material, that sort of stuff. So we make more money from our done for you than our done with you mentorship program. But the done for you took a long time to build and to build up that client base. The done with you, the mentorship program, because it was productized, just flew immediately. Like I think we did a launch and we did like 200 grand's worth of sales in.
Once it's built, you can just sell it 1 million times, right?
Yes, you can. But what I'm saying is I think the productized offer has more room to grow in the real short term and generate a lot of revenue quite quickly, get a lot of customers. It's much easier to understand. But often because it's capped in terms of the value you can deliver, because it's productized, the overall value you can provide and therefore the money you can make from it is more capped.
What would you recommend to someone, going back to what I was saying, what would you recommend to somebody that's at the, let's say 5, 10, 15K per month mark? It's like, do I have 2 separate offers? One of them's done with you, one of them's done for you. Do I productize my offer? Do I not? Do I work bespokely with everybody?
I personally would not productize at that point. There would be loads of people that would disagree with this, by the way. And I think that approach of not productizing would be worse in the next 12, 24 months for revenue. And like, I know loads of people.
Why? If you don't mind me asking.
Because operationally it's more difficult to have something be more
Bespoke.
like a bespoke
System that.
Yeah. But I think you learn more as a provider, which I think really helps later on. And I think it opens up the door to the most valuable, like if we're talking about mostly a service type business here, whether it's productized or bespoke, right? The largest companies in the world that provide services, it's not a productized offer. It's the biggest law firms, it's the biggest accounting firms, it's the biggest marketing firms.
I've done the most reps.
Those are the biggest service companies in the world, and it's all bespoke. It's all top tier. I mean, they might have some stuff that's productized.
Yeah.
Because they're working with clients that pay so much that the clients are like, you are not just going to give us the cookie cutter.
I need your access. Yeah, I need access.
I keep seeing, you just made me think, I keep seeing a lot about the onboarding process at the moment.
Yeah.
How important is that? It's like a lot of the stuff I've been seeing is like, it's super important within the first week that the client has some like big wins, and like that really feels like special to them, like they're opening a present. Like how important is that first week, that onboarding process when somebody brings on those clients?
I think it's pretty important, yeah. I think it's like, we put quite a lot of time and effort into it. We have videos that go out from me. We have people on the team. They'll be introduced to a specific like client success manager. Then they'll be introduced to their media buyer. Like it's all very planned. We get access to things. We try and do as good a job as possible, because there will be that scenario where people go in, this is crap, if they feel like they've been abandoned even 48 hours, even if it's like, you told them, but you want to manage that process.
But what about somebody that is like a 1-man team, a 2-man team, or a 3-man team? How do they make that onboarding process when they're probably not only working with 3, 4, 5, 6 clients? How do they make that onboarding process feel special?
Whenever you hire a service-based business, the thing that you want is to feel like they got you. That's it. You want to be like, you know, there are people that you know in your personal life even, where if you ask them to do something, you're there thinking, are they going to do that? Are they going to get it right? Do I need to check on them? And then there are other people where you're being like, I've asked John, John's got it. I can trust him. I know it. You need to...
I like that.
You need to show that.
Oh, man.
You
Say
need
about you too, bro.
Thank you, brother.
Good. You need to show that, right? So you need to make the client feel they got this. So that is almost over communicating at the beginning. It's just showing you really give a shit. You really care about
I like that.
them and getting them what they want. So yeah, that's what you need to do. And there's different ways you can do that on onboarding process, but if you just bring it back to that, that's like,
I was just gonna, like how do you do that though? Is it like, do you bring them through presentations, then you've got like big onboarding survey and you find out all the info about them?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the plan of attack, this is how we're going to do everything for you, etc.
Yeah, onboarding stuff. I mean, we just tell them that. So there's videos of me, there's videos from the other team that are like, we're doing all of this, we really care. This is exactly what's happening right now. You know, this is now day 2, so we're doing ABC. It might not seem like we're doing, like you might not hear from us right now because we're doing all the research, but like this is what we're doing.
What about for the guys that are at 5, 6 clients?
I think
it's like what you think they need to have, like spend the time and put videos in place, etc., and make this perfect seamless process.
You don't need it, but it would help.
I think if you impress somebody in the first 30 days, the chance and the likelihood of them staying with you for 12 months is significantly more.
Way better.
I saw this video of Hormozy is breaking down the stat, and it's I couldn't tell the exact statistics, but it's basically like your clients are more likely to stay with someone that's got a worse service, like actual what they're providing, but better customer service.
Yeah, I can see that. There becomes a point
to an
extent. Of course.
And it depends on what service you're offering. Because if you're offering like, you know, if you're like offering cleaning services and things aren't quite as clean, but like you really get on with the person that comes around and cleans, you might be like, oh, it's fine. If it's just not quite as clean as I'd like, it's not the end of the world. Mm-hmm. But when you're offering like ad services and people are looking at the return on ad spend number and it's as quantifiable as it gets.
Like I'm spending like
translate.
15, 20,000 more and not getting that return.
It doesn't translate as much. So there is a line of that. But like you said about 30 days, I think I'd shrink that time frame. I think if they have a good experience within the first like couple of days, that really helps. And it is just making that.
I think that's
what I
something that we
described
could
from an
work on.
onboarding process, I think you could create that in a day. I don't think it needs to be that complicated. It could be a series of 3 videos that get emailed out to people who sign up.
Action plan.
On set days.
This is what we did
just
today.
to let you know exactly that. This is what
Before
we're
our
doing.
next call, this will be done.
I'm curious though, because how does that work if it's bespoke to each client, or is it just the things that like kind of, so it's like, oh, we're setting up your ads now?
Yeah, so some of it will be pre-recorded, anything involving me, and then other stuff the media buyers will do like Loom videos and just send over.
But
and
even
say,
when you set up, so I have like an Airbnb business as well that I run, and every time you set up a new property on Airbnb, there's this video of the Airbnb CEO, and it's like, hey,
yeah,
thank you,
Yeah,
for, like,
yeah.
setting up with us.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
part of the family now, and like I can see that. I'm like, come on, bro, I know you filmed that like 12 months ago, bro. Like, do you know what I mean? But
there will be some truth to that. Like without you guys,
of course,
he doesn't have a business.
But yeah, of course. But also the first time somebody uploads something to Airbnb, they're like, oh
Great.
wow,
Yeah.
that's the CEO.
Yeah.
Like he just told me he needs me.
And it's true.
Yeah, no, it is
And he
true.
means it, and it's true.
Yeah, of course.
And then so you do the mixture.
But it's
You do
that, yeah.
And it doesn't need to be like high production value with the bespoke stuff. A few Loom videos.
Yeah. Couple Loom
It's
videos, a video.
At the end
like
of the day, oh, just wanted to let you know it's like a 3-minute video. Just did this, and this. We'll be in touch in the next couple of days.
If it means that they're going to stay on for the next 6 to 12 months, what's the extra hour that
Yeah,
you put
yeah,
in on
yeah.
their onboarding?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that. I think we could work on that for our business as well.
What's something that some like people could just have automated, like the videos that somebody could have set as like
A general like introduction video. So that's what we've got. We've got like a general introduction video saying we're really excited to join the team. That you're on board with us. We're going to do everything we can to get you the best results possible. We reaffirm. So we got some like examples of businesses like we've delivered fantastic results for ABC. We're going to try and do that as well for you as well. If there's ever any issues, these are the contact information to get in touch with. So they
Just very basic and broad stuff that apply to all.
Yeah, basic and broad stuff, but it's just actually making sure it's done. The basic stuff, like actually ticking the boxes. And then you can do some other stuff. So we have like a few different client success managers. So, and they're basically just there checking in with everyone, making sure they're happy and dealing with issues. So we have like a few different pre-recorded videos where I'm like, your customer success manager is Ryan. He's going to be able to take over, or, any issues you have, you contact him. That's like a separate video. And I've just recorded those. Takes almost no time. And then we've got the assets, and anytime someone signs up, we know who the client success manager is. They get sent the video, and they're like, "Oh, great! Not only has Ben done me an intro video, he's also told me where to go if I need help and what the process is going to look like." They feel taken care of with that.
It's like you said, like they've got this.
Yeah, exactly that.
Like if
all
their
these guys
system
are on
is
it.
fucking good.
Yeah,
If they've given me boom, 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 I just made the payment 30 minutes ago,
yeah, exactly that.
and I've already got like, they've got this.
Exactly that.
Yeah, I love that. That's a really, really good insight, and I think we can definitely apply that to our own business as well. Really, really good insight. What would you say is your biggest business win? When was the time when you thought, you know what, I'm doing it? Because I feel like everybody has that moment in time where things finally click, and you have that kind of like moment where it's like a bit of imposter syndrome. You take a step back and you have a look and you're like, shit, like this is everything I wanted. When was that for you, and what did it look like?
I did a conference a few years ago. When would it's been? Maybe 2-3 years ago, something like that. And it was a marketing conference here in the UK. And I don't know how many people in the crowd. It was a good size venue, so 500-600 people, something like that. And I got up on stage, and I probably shouldn't have done this. Like the event organisers were like rolling their eyes. But I literally, one of the first questions I asked was like, "Who here knows who I am?" Just my own curiosity. And like 70% of the room, the arms went up. And I was like, "Fuck yeah, shit!" Like, okay, because I said to you guys before we started recording that I live in the UK. I live in the Cotswolds. It's pretty remote here. I have 1 million followers, but something like less than 10% of those are UK based. So I never have like,
And they're only at the
hardly ever
marketing.
have- I hardly ever have put face-to-face interactions. Very occasionally, someone will come up to me when I'm playing football or whatever and be like, "Do you make YouTube videos?" I'll be like, yeah. Please don't kick me. Yeah. But then at this marketing conference was kind of nutty. And I'd only got there like just before I started speaking, so I hadn't like been around. And then I did that. And then for the rest of the day, I've just got like literally a queue of people coming to speak to me, people wanting photos. I mean,
What's that feeling like?
That felt really cool. That was like one hell of an ego boost. That felt like,
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes when you make content, you could see the numbers, but you forget like that's real people. You know, you put out a video and you go, okay, yeah, did all right, got 80,000 views, and you think like that's Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Like that's
I was literally just about to say that's Wembley.
yeah. And you're like, those are real humans on the other end of that, and that felt like that to me. And that was really cool. That was like a nice little ego boost to wander around like a celeb for a couple of days.
So so you would say that was the moment when you felt like, okay, I'm really doing something because people like recognized you.
Yeah, I think so.
I was kind of going towards like the business side of things where, okay, I was working for £100 a month.
Yeah.
Like, and now, like, what stage was that? Like, was it hiring your first team member? Was it hitting a certain kind of number of MRR? What was that for you? When do you like, I'm doing it?
So the month I got married, which is nearly 6 years ago now.
Congrats.
2019. I remember that month we made 20 grand a month, 20 grand profit
And you got
for the first
married.
time. Yeah. It was like things were really taking off then. That was when we went through that time period of maybe 6 months before, 5 grand a month, and then it's 8, and then it's 12, and then it's 20, and then 6 months later it's 45 or whatever. So that was that period that I think people who have had lots of success.
Like that snowball
all of a sudden goes.
Yeah.
I remember making 20 grand a month, and that was quite like because I'd worked. So I did a gap year before I went to university, and I'd worked in a shop for like £1,000 a month, basically full time, been paid £5.50 an hour or something along those lines. And I just remember going, I just made that year's salary that I did a whole year's for working in this like mail shop for in a month. And like I said, and I got married, so it was like quite a busy month. It wasn't like I was working every minute of every day. So that was probably like, that was a cool moment to be. It felt like something different then. It felt like, okay, And also, I dropped out of university. I went to Bath Uni, really good uni. All my friends went on to do grad schemes. So there was years where I was way behind my peer group in terms of earning potential, the exciting stuff they're working on. I'm like working on these £100 a month clients, and they're, working at big companies in London, stuff like that. And then it was like, okay, I don't think any of my friends are earning £250,000 a year at the time. Maybe some.
The delayed gratification.
Yeah. So it felt like I'd caught up and like was really heading in the right
and
direction.
some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does somebody have to do to actually get the agency game wrong?
To get it wrong. Negative hooks work, H. Well done, bro.
So many, honestly, so many ways. Let me run through some. Undercharge, not deliver great results. So many people, I see it in some of my stuff a lot. I mean, I have a Facebook group. I have the humble brag. I have the largest Facebook group in the world for Facebook advertising.
Flex on them, bro.
So there's almost 300,000 members in there.
Come on.
And often you will see someone say, I've just signed up a client. How do you do something that's really basic? And you're like, oh no. And they get slaughtered by other people who are like, you cannot not know how to do that and have signed up a client. They just get like bombarded. So yeah, that would be another way, not knowing what you're doing. That's a huge part of it. Giving up. I think so many people, the agency space is not quite the same as like things like drop shipping, but it's not that far away. So there's a lot of people dip in and out. And then the big one for anyone that overcomes those ones would just be not differentiating, not offering something different to other people. And that's just a good recipe for mediocrity, because in the agency space, there's a lot of industries that operate like this, but there's going to be an enormous amount of businesses that make bugger all money, and then a small few that make all the money. Because it's a very lucrative industry. People will give you a lot of money if you can get them leads and sales. It's like a really valued service. But they want to work with the best. So like that's where all the money flows. So yeah, there's so many. I wouldn't know what the average earnings for a agency owner is, but I bet the average number of employees for an agency worldwide is 1, maybe 2, somewhere in that range. They just never get beyond freelancer status basically, and they charge next to nothing. And that's that's a tough gig if you're going to do that for most of your career.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you I know you've said it a few times, but like, how do you differentiate your services, especially like doing something like Facebook ads? Because it's
what
like,
makes you stand out?
like no discredit to you and your agency or anything like that, but Facebook ads are something that's pretty much the same across the board, right? Apart from obviously just coming up with different ideation for creatives.
Yeah. So I think so there's a few things, right? I think when you look at differentiation, I don't think that necessarily has to be in what you provide. There can be other ways to differentiate.
How to get eyeballs?
Yeah.
What's your acquisition system?
Yeah. Other ways of getting attention effectively can be differentiation.
Yeah.
So someone who has like absolutely no, Mr. Beast, for example, has no knowledge, as far as I'm aware, of running an agency. I bet he doesn't know how to create a Facebook ad, but he could launch an agency tomorrow and have all the clients in the world because he's so good at getting attention that people would trust that process. So that's obviously a really extreme example, but you could have smaller versions of that where there are ways to differentiate even if you offer a very similar service to everyone else. And I think that when you're looking at differentiation, like let's say I'm looking at my business, it'd be very, very difficult for us to honestly say we provide a much better service than the other really good meta ads specialized agencies.
Your competitors.
That'd be really difficult to do. So you're doing it at that point in the margins. So you're saying like, look at our fantastic attention to detail. In my case, it's like I'm a Megaphone partner. So I have early access, I have special access.
It's a big one. It's like a cheat code, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, if we have an issue with a client's ad account, we can often get it fixed with an email instead of waiting 3 weeks to go through a review process. Yeah. So it's those sorts of little things once you get to a certain level.
I bet that's such an easy sell. Like, oh, so what makes you stand out? Oh, by the way, I'm the only person that Meta fuck with in the UK. Just saying. Like, I'm gonna run Meta ads for you. I'm your guy. I'm Batman.
It's an easy one. That does help.
Yeah. But you earned it.
Yeah.
You earned it. And what that shows you is you did the reps.
Yeah.
You've been around long enough for Meta to recognize that you are an expert in that field and we want to associate ourselves with you and vice versa.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it should be fucking easy for you to sell your stuff because you already did it.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And that's one of the best things about personal brand. Like we've had new sales guys join the team who are used to selling cold. And that is one guy I could think of in particular. He was like, he did like a week and he just couldn't believe. He's like,
with the warm leads.
They all know us. They all really want to work with us. It's just whether or not they can afford it. He's like, this is shooting fish in a barrel in comparison to, he was mostly like working at events, but like doing like cold, going over to people and trying to. Yeah.
Would you say, again, like there's this new thing like within the agency space, it's like create the content flywheel. Like it's not like it's not a funnel. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
It's not a funnel, it's like an ecosystem now, which makes a lot of sense, but is that kind of how your funnel works?
Yeah. So I have like a very old, because I've been doing this so long, I have a very old school version of that, which is funnel versus radio show. Is like how it used to be talked about. I can remember, who can I remember saying that? Probably Perry Marshall saying that in like, do you guys even know who Perry Marshall is?
I don't.
Yeah. Perry Marshall saying that, old school Google Ads expert from 2009 is probably when I was, you guys would have been kids, when I was looking at his stuff. And it was talked about then being a funnel versus radio show. And I've always been much more on the radio show, the flywheel side of things. Like, I don't need you to go through step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's just, I'm gonna get you there with pieces here, pieces there. The platforms lend themselves so much more to that because you don't know what someone's journey is going to be like. They watch a YouTube video, but they don't make it to the call to action, so they don't do anything. Then they see an ad pop up on Instagram that's retargeting them based on that action. They follow, but they don't click on anything. They see 4 stories. They join the email list. They get 7 emails. They don't see you for 6 months. Then they need something. They Google it. The platforms recognize it. They put another ad in front of them and you convert them. It's like, good luck trying to funnel that process.
People are like making the ecosystem almost like a system though now. It's not so much like they discover you. It's like, I don't know, for instance, they boost the post that's only to gain followers, or they have a reel that goes viral, and it's like, comment the word training for my free training, and the free training is just a YouTube video, like a mini YouTube series with like a CTA at the end of like 4 episodes that are like 10 minutes long, and they have to get all the way to the end, and it's like to find out what the offer even is. So it's like they're the warmest possible lead, so that when they actually come to the call, it's like, well, you don't even need the call, so it's like, and people are almost creating that funnel into a system.
He's going to shit on it now.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for it. I want to hear it.
It's because that's sellable. If you make it a system, you can then sell the system.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't necessarily mean it's that real. Mm-hmm. Will there be some people that go through that process? Yes. But so much of a warm lead is not just the exposures that your brand has to them. It's the time for them. So many offers are time specific. So I can't take someone through a process if they're just starting with Facebook ads and their business is just them and it does $1,000 a month. Like, they're not ready yet. So we have to wait. And that might be 6 months for some people. It might be 3 years for other people. We have to wait until they're ready.
In that meantime, you just provide them with more value, more value, more value.
That flywheel setup is supposed to try to make it too specific.
So
I do think there are rules you can put around splits between, you want a certain ratio of call to action based stuff versus value stuff. And so I think that's good. But trying to get overly granular with these things, I think is silly.
Are you aware of Sabri Subi?
Yeah.
Out in Australia.
Yeah.
I feel like you're going to say you're friends with him or something.
I am not, but my my business partner has just gone to an event in Dubai, literally last week.
I was literally there.
I saw. I wasn't. No, but I was seeing his stories. I was like, Chris, man, try and find him for the pod.
But we have both, and like everybody that's in our team, we were like, get Sabri's book. I'm going to need you to read it.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
non-negotiable. Read it. In there, he talks about the people within your market and where they're at in regards to their buying cycle. And only 3% at any given time are actually ready to buy. And what a lot of people are kind of targeting is that 3%. That's discounts and offers and buy one, get one free. And it's only available for this time and get it. But the rest of them is the 97% that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
60% of the market isn't even aware that they have a problem. 20% of them know they have a problem but don't know what to do about it. And then you have 17% that are kind of like in their information gathering period. So where this flywheel works is that if you have content that can highlight to somebody that there is an issue, show them there's some kind of solution to their issue, and then guide them along that process into then buying, is literally what you've just said.
Yeah.
And it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's just give, keep giving. And if they're the right fit, they will buy at some point. But you just have to stay consistent, keep showing up, keep giving.
I think Gary Vee was like the genius innovator around this.
The jab, right hook.
Jab, right hook, yeah. And
it's
he
3 to 1, isn't it?
He was talking about this forever ago, about this process. And you look at his content now, and like none of it is call to action based. It's as top of funnel could be, but he's just...
I don't actually know what Gary Vee sells anymore.
Yeah, well, he has an agency.
That's his top level thing. It was like Hormozy in Leeds. He says don't even ask for anything. It's like just keep giving unless you're desperate for money. Just keep giving, and just keep giving until they actually just come to you and ask.
I think there's a fine. I wouldn't go that far.
You can guide them into wanting to buy. Right?
They don't plan on it.
Yeah,
it's like it makes a lot of sense though.
We know that if we put a stronger call to action in a video, it will get more leads.
Yeah,
assuming the views are equal. So like, there's definitely room for that. To add that in there, there's a balance with these things. But yeah, I think on the giving side, an obvious example would be like a plumber. You cannot sell someone plumbing services who doesn't have an issue. It's just never going to happen. And that's one that everyone can like intuitively understand, but that applies to most things. Most people aren't going to buy a new pair of shoes unless their current pair that they wear for that type of occasion is knackered. It's just, so you have to be around enough for them to be like, oh yeah, it's now the right time for me to get that new phone or that new whatever.
Yeah.
Has to be the right time in their life.
To somebody that wanted to start an agency today, what would your first 3 actionable steps be to that person at home to becoming and achieving the things that you've become and achieved?
Spend some time educating yourself. Tons of free online resources. I've made a bunch of them where you can learn quite a lot from going through videos and having a little dabble. Find some businesses to effectively practice on. Do it for free. So I didn't mention this, but my very first client was my mum's interior design business, which I ran ad campaigns for 3 months for no money because I was learning this stuff. And my mum went, my business needs leads. Can you give it a go? I was like, all right, I'll give it a go.
Did it work?
Yeah. It worked brilliantly. I didn't realise it was an absolute false sense of security. Interior design is one of the easiest businesses to generate leads for because the average customer I worked out for her business was worth 75 grand. So you're like, oh, so we can pay like £500 a lead, right? She's like, yeah, because you convert 1 in 5 and
Yeah.
still a 30x ROAS. They're like, oh, okay. And then when I worked with other businesses where like
The salon where it's like a 50 quid blow dry.
yeah, it's that.
Just quite not the same.
He's there like, what can you afford to pay to acquire a customer? He's like, £7. Okay, right. I'm used to generating leads for 55, and that works really well for my interior design business. But I did that, charge absolutely nothing, and just learn before I then realized I had a skill that I could start charging people. So I think that's, most people have like a family business or a friend, or if you don't have that, go and knock on doors to find someone and be like, even if you're not, say you're a student, and say, I'm a student, I'm learning all this stuff, I won't charge you a single thing for it.
And I'm going to give it everything I've got.
I'm going to give it everything I've got, because I'm going to use what I do for you to get testimonials. Like, you go knock on 20 different businesses, like someone's going to say yes. Do that, learn the skills. That then gives you, I think, if you get some results for someone, you then have the confidence to actually go out to other people and go, right, now we can actually start.
I think that is the hardest part, when you don't actually know if everything you've learned works.
Yeah.
And it's like finding it, like, and then when you prove it to yourself, it's like, fuck, that worked. Yes.
Yeah. Like I said, for me, it was a false sense of security, because I was like, this is easy. That was also 2013, 2014 when I first started doing that. So like it was easier then as well.
Yeah.
Ad costs were lower. But this is easy, and then it was much harder. But that makes a big difference to actually do that. And then whatever your next step is, you can do it.
Amazing. Ben, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
I enjoyed it.
No worries.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for just taking the time out of your busy schedule. And I feel like I've learned a lot. I hope the people at home have learned a lot. And then maybe we can run it back.
Yeah, absolutely. Really appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. To all of you guys at home on Spotify, make sure you leave us a rating and drop us a follow if you haven't already. And if you're on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Turn the bell notification on so you get notified every time we release a podcast. We'll see you all next week.
Sweet, guys. Catch us later. Thanks for coming on, man.
Peace.